Hey guys, my name is Hayden Coogan. I've been doing sports photography for 3 years now, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys some tips that I personally use when I'm out on the field to upgrade your guys' sports photography. So let's get into it. The first thing that we're going to talk about are the three main things that you need to know in photography, and that is ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. So, first and foremost, the most important ones are going to be shutter speed and aperture. You're going to want to shoot wide open with your aperture, meaning f2.8, f4, whatever your lens allows. And for shutter speed, you're going to want to shoot around 1/1000, with the lowest you be going maybe 1/640th. I'd say really try not to go lower than 1/800th, but it's kind of up to you. You can also do some creative shots with like 1/20th, 1/10th. I've even gone down to 1/5. It really depends. But for aperture, you really want to try to buy a lens that's going to have that aperture that can shoot wide open for you. You want to be shooting at f2.8 if you can. If you can get an 85 prime or something like that, like an 85-1.8, 85-1.4, those are awesome for indoor sports such as basketball. And honestly, those are going to kind of make you stand out from other photographers. So now I'm going to be showing you guys some different scenarios and my settings that I've used in those scenarios. So the first image that we're going to look over is this one. This was taken at a recent baseball training that I went to, which was just some preseason training. Now, it was shot inside the dome because it was a little too cold outside to do anything. It's around 20 degrees here in Minnesota. So this image was shot at 400 millimeters. It was shot with my Sony A1 and my 400 2.8. The image was shot at 1/800th of a second, f2.8, and ISO 10,000. Now, this is the enhanced image. Of course, I used denoise on this. And 1/800th, when you're shooting a picture, typically doesn't leave a whole lot of super focused points just because they're moving so fast. Now, images like this, I do shoot raw. I shoot raw if I'm shooting around 10,000 ISO. I shoot raw if I'm shooting basically anywhere from, I'd say, 6400 and up is going to be shot in raw, for the main reason that you can throw it into Lightroom and quickly fix it up. Now for our next image, this is an image that I shot at US Bank Stadium for the All-Star Minnesota high school game. Now, this one was a lot better. I was shooting JPEG, so I was not shooting RAW, for the main reason that it was shot at only ISO 2000. Now, ISO 2000 really isn't going to be bad because you have such a good comeback ratio on a lot of the newer cameras that you honestly don't need RAW. Obviously, it looked better in RAW, and a little bit denoised would make it look spectacular, but you just really don't need it, especially for file storage. It can be a little bit rough. This photo was shot at 1/1600th, f2.8, ISO 2000. Now, obviously, I could have brought my shutter speed a little bit down and brought my ISO a little bit down, but I was really trying to capture the fine detail inside this image, and honestly, it worked pretty great. Alright guys, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is how to anticipate the action. Now, anticipating the action is honestly something that you just have to learn over time. I mean, sitting at the end of a field, a lot of people won't be able to tell, what's going to happen unless you know the sport. So that's kind of one of the things that I recommend doing is go watch some video of the sport, go learn a little bit about it, learn some of the background, learn some of the history. Especially a good thing to do is check out if any of the players are trying to hit some sort of record. If they're going to hit a record, they're going to be going for that record. That player is probably going to score. Let's say it's soccer. I'll sit on the far side, so I'm going to be sitting right behind the goal, and I'm just going to sit there and wait for this kid to get this goal. Let's say it's his 100th career goal for his high school season. Well, I'm going to sit right behind that goal and I'm going to wait for him to get that shot, because most likely his teammates are going to pass to him for that shot, this and that. So learning the history and the background of things, and especially learning how the sport actually works, is a great way to anticipate those shots. Another thing that I like to do is I leave myself with two options. So I either track one player, even if he doesn't have the ball, I just follow him around with my camera, just back button autofocus him the entire time. Just take a few shots, get a couple cool things. Or I just follow where the ball goes absolutely everywhere. Now, both can have their own type of shot that they can make, but the one where you follow the ball will obviously have all the action. Now, you may catch things that you would have never realized before because you're sitting with your eye in the camera if you follow a player who doesn't even have the ball. Cool things can happen even when the player isn't part of the main action. So just remember that. Another thing that you're going to want to learn for anticipating the action is, well, you're not always going for the action. There's other things happening around the sport that can make much cooler shots when you don't just go for the ball. You can get cool shots like this, or even a cool shot like this. All things can turn out really cool, especially for someone who doesn't have any of the action coming to them. They still have a good photo at the end of the day, and you still came away with a great photo to either put up on your Instagram or put in your own portfolio. The next thing that we're going to want to talk about is autofocus and continuous shooting. So continuous shooting is probably pretty obvious. I mean, you're going to be shooting multiple photos in a row. You're trying to catch all the action. I recommend typically shooting on the second highest or highest your camera can do. So my Sony A1, the one that I'm recording on right now, can shoot 30 FPS. Typically I shoot 30 or 20. It kind of depends on the moment. Some sports aren't even fast enough where I believe 30 is applicable to the situation. I have a Sony A9 down there in my bag behind me. That is the camera that shoots 20 FPS. So to be honestly, all I'd recommend is just 20. That's kind of as much as you need. Anything more will just help you get more photos, but typically you don't need any more than that. I know some of the new Canon cameras have 40, the Sony A9 shoots 120. I've used cameras that shoot 120. You don't really need them. They're kind of not applicable to the situation, but it's always a good thing to have. Now, for autofocusing, you're always going to want to be on continuous autofocus. That is going to be the most important thing for you to be on. Being on single autofocus will lead to your shots being blurry, because you'll be selected on an autofocus point that will still be in the past because the person has continued moving. So let's say you autofocus on me right now. Well, you have to take the shot right now for it to stay in focus. If I move over here, it's going to be a little less focused. So if I move forward, it's going to be less focused. That's probably the biggest thing that I think screws up a lot of people, is they don't even realize, oh, I should be shooting in continuous autofocus. Oh, why am I in single point autofocus? Well, that's what you want to be on. This continuous autofocus will help you get those crystal clear shots even when the player is moving all around. The next thing that I'm going to be talking about is how to frame your photos more like a pro. Now, here's the thing with pros. They always try these different angles and different shots that you just feel like you can never recreate in your photos because of a couple different things. The first one is, with your camera, you're going to want to turn on at least the rule of thirds in whatever you're shooting on. That can be found in the menu, the second shooting page, and on the seventh page. It'll be in grid lines. I have diagonal plus square grid on. You can turn on a couple different things. It's up to you. But I use this to create different shots, to follow different lines, and to see where players are in my images. Now, this helps me stand out from lots of other photographers. You can create totally new shots that you felt like you never could create before. Now, this also does have to do with the positioning you are on the field. A lot of sports you can sit at the end of the field, of course baseball, and there's a couple other ones that are different, but for like soccer and basketball, you can sit at the ends of the court or the end of the pitch. Now, these are just good things to talk about and good things to hear, but that doesn't mean you can't go to other places around all these different facilities. There's great places to shoot from higher up, to get a new angle, to make almost everything look like tiny little toys even. Now, you can do those things, but you just have to go out and find out for yourself which angles you like most and which ones can benefit your photos. The next thing that I just want to touch base on is post-processing tips. Now, these are going to just be some things that you should stay away from or that you should do more often. And honestly, I'm going to be real with you guys. You guys got to stop adding sharpness to the absolute max, clarity to the absolute max, and texture to the absolute max. Now, all those things in post-processing will just kill your photo. You bring out inconsistencies that no one wants to see, bring out things that other photographers can catch, and it just does not look good. For some styles, it definitely can look good, and I definitely do recommend it. Like, to be honest, black and whites look awesome with more texture and clarity added. Sharpness can do great, especially mixed with grain, if you're trying to add kind of that artsy, 80s, 70s feel. It's a great way to do that. My other thing that I would say stay away from doing is stop messing with the colors to a point where you can't do anything with the photo. It is impossible to edit a photo afterwards, and honestly, you may regret it sometimes when you mess with colors so much where they're completely different from where they started. Things that I'm going to tell you to stick with is honestly color grade. Work on color grading and just try to come up with your own type of edits. Having your own type of edits can be super huge and can add so much to your photos. So that's about it for me, folks. Honestly, just get out there and have fun. Do some fun stuff, go to some different sports, some things that you may not even be able to find on TV. Go have some fun, get out there. The more you get out there, the more you shoot, and the more you learn, and the more fun you have. That's my recommendation for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.